TikTok compilation that might wake you up and change your reality. Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
A couple encountered a lone baby eagle while walking their dog and kindly took it in. After raising it, it turned out to be a giant. They brought the baby eagle home and took care of it, making a small nest for it to live in. The little guy loved to eat meat. The poor little guy couldn't walk steadily, and the couple took care of it every day. The more pitiful it was when it was young, the more domineering it became when it grew up. Nowadays, it has grown very cool, and its wings have become very strong. In their eyes, it is still the little baby from before. It is simply the visual representative of the bird world, and sometimes it is silly. Now it is almost as big as a human, and they don't know what kind of eagle it is that has such a large size.
There's a harpy eagle, the largest eagle in the world. And the female harpy eagle is even bigger than the male.
We find the people with the most redheads. The country you're thinking of is not where they come from. Having red hair is quite rare among humans. Less than 2% of the world has this hair color. But it gets much higher than that in a remote area. And it is not the nation you would expect. In countries such as Scotland or Ireland, redheads are close to 10% of the population. Now we need to go eastwards to find a higher rate. All the way to the Volga region in Russia. This is where the Udmurt Republic is located, home to the ethnic group with the world's reddest hair. But they are not part of the Slavic majority. So who are those mysterious ginger-haired people? Udmurts are a Uralic-speaking ethnicity, which explains their high Siberian admixture. They also have a major Indo-European input, one of the highest among all ethnic groups. So there is really no need to ask.
I think they're adorable. I have a good friend from Iraq and he has red hair. He's mistaken for Iris all the time.
If you love someone, set them free. If you hate someone, set them free. Basically, just set everybody free. Get a dog. People are annoying.
Granny is on point.
This is the most expensive nightclub in the world. Located in Las Vegas within the MGM Grand, the Hakkasan nightclub is a 5-level venue that offers an unforgettable experience with top-tier DJs like Calvin Harris and Steve Aoki. It's a haven for those willing to splurge, with bottles of wine or whiskey costing up to $100,000, tables at $10,000, and special cocktails also at $10,000 each. High rollers often indulge in these luxuries, spending what some earn in a year on a single night out. Celebrities such as Drake, Kendall Jenner, and the Kardashians are frequently seen partying at Hakkasan, adding to its glamorous appeal. The nightclub's premium offerings and star-studded clientele contribute to its impressive financial success, with annual revenues estimated at around $100 million. Hakkasan's unique blend of opulence, celebrity presence, and premier entertainment firmly establishes it as a top-tier nightlife destination in Las Vegas.
I'm not into club scene, but when I used to drink back then, I'm more like a bar person with friends.
Man who became friends with a fish in a Minnesota lake has now managed to become friends with several fish, and he's basically just part of their school now. Diver Rex Calubra met his best fish friend, Elvis, a smallmouth bass, during a dive in 2021. During that first dive, Rex noticed that Elvis was sticking closer to him than the rest, displaying an unusual lack of fear. And when Rex returned to the lake a few weeks later, Elvis swam right up to greet him. Rex fed him some crawfish and taught his new friend a special call, which is something like a gulping grunt sound. And now, whenever Rex makes that sound, Elvis swims up and tags along for each dive for a total of 34 dives together. But Elvis isn't the only fish in the lake who wants to be friends with Rex. After seeing how much Elvis trusts his diver friend, other fish have started responding to the grunt and tagging along for dives too, like these two largemouth bass, Lars and Larry. Elvis does get jealous, and he will ward off other fish if they get too close to Rex, acting as Rex's little underwater security guard. But Rex has still managed to bond with other members of the fish family. Each fish is recognizable by unique markings, and Elvis in particular has scars around his mouth from a catch-and-release encounter with a fisherman. Rex keeps the exact location of the lake a secret in order to safeguard his friends from eager fishermen, but he posts all of his encounters on his social media account, and he'll be returning in the coming weeks to check up on Elvis and his other fish friends.
Not to ruin it, but I wonder if there's a fish formed toxoplasmosis.
Kenapa pangandaran? Karena emang seindah itu cuy.
This is Diamond Beach, Nusa Penida, Bali. What do you think?
You're playing by the pond, two grenades were thrown from nowhere. One rolled under your feet, the other fell into the water. What would you do in such a situation? Do you run out and fall on the ground, or do you jump left into the water? If you choose to jump into the water, the probability of being hit by shrapnel is almost zero, because the resistance of water is 800 times that of air. Even the powerful AK-47 underwater shooting effective range of less than half a meter distance. So the shrapnel of exploding grenades in the water is not a threat to you at all. Then jump into the water is the best choice? Not really. When a Maktoum grenade explodes on land, the shockwave has a lethal range of only 1.5 meters. Because air is easily compressed, the shockwave exceeds this range. The pressure quickly drops below 517 kPa. It's difficult to cause fatal injuries to the human body, but underwater is completely different when an explosion occurs. Because water is not easily compressed, the energy of the shockwave can be transmitted over a long-distance. Human mouth, nasal cavity, lungs, stomach, and other organs still have a lot of air, equivalent to a balloon filled with half water and half air. Once the shockwave is applied to the balloon, the air inside the balloon is compressed. The surface will tear and twist under the irregular pressure. But your heart, liver, and lungs are far less elastic than a balloon. So imagine if a person were in the water at that moment. The shockwave would smash the air-containing organs in your body to pieces. So in summary, if you choose to sprint forward and fall to the ground, there's a 1% chance you'll be in danger from shrapnel. But if you choose to jump into the water, you're going to end up dead.
What happens if you're kicking the other one in the pool and seeing it go? I love how it blends into nature seamlessly.
Мама, откуда у нас подписчики?
Я не знаю. Ребят, напишите, пожалуйста, откуда нас кто смотрит. Очень интересно узнать это.
They are very beautiful mom and daughter.
Christy, can you show me your hair right now? Good job.
Wow.
Can you touch your favorite tool? Definitely the REM pod. Can you turn that off? Can you turn it back on? Good job. Can you hold it down in your favorite color, honey? It's black, but you said green. And green, black and green. Wow, that's going really fast. The sweep rate. Were you in the army? You can use these words in this app to communicate anything you want to me. Are you able to piece them together to tell me how you passed away? Ammo? Did somebody SHOOT you? Yeah. Are you 28? Christy, how can I help you? Is there anything you want to tell me right now?
Give her an iPad, show her YouTube and Roblox.
All starts with Ray J playing the piano at Floyd Mayweather's house. No big deal. Psych, stupid. If I'm talking about it, you know it's finna be a big deal. See, Ray J had a problem. There was a rapper named Fabulous who loved to troll people online. Now he goes online, he doesn't say anything that bad. He just goes, oh man, a private concert for Mayweather, crazy, haha. Ray J probably didn't think it was that bad. He doesn't reply. No big deal. But then a problem happens. Have you heard of the word instigating? Oh, well, you haven't seen true instigating until you've seen a skin protected from the sun person do it. It was the day of a Mayweather boxing match. Everyone's having dinner and hanging out. Kevin Hart runs into Fabulous, the rapper. He goes, hey, what would you say about Ray J online again? Fabulous said, man, it wasn't that crazy. I just said, Kevin Hart dying laughing. Diddy comes over and said, hey, what y'all laughing about? He said, no, it's no big deal. I just said this crazy thing online about Ray J. Diddy dying laughing. People start coming over. What they laughing about? Then Ray J walks in and he's chill. He goes, hey man, I know why y'all laughing, bro. You got me online. They all laugh about it. But see, Kevin Hart started laughing a little too hard. Diddy on the floor. Diddy crying laughing. Ray J like, it wasn't that funny. Diddy goes, you sure you're okay? Because I wouldn't be. Fabulous goes, all right, I'm gonna just go. Diddy goes, all right, damn, clowning your ass and walking away is crazy. Ray J goes, he was just playing around. Diddy goes, now we just laughing around at you. Ray J go, all right, I'm gonna just go find Kevin, you tripping. So Ray J starts venting to Kevin, saying, hey man, Fabulous bugging. Kevin like, chill out, chill out. Ray J leaves. Kevin calls Fabulous. He goes, yo, watch out for Ray J. He's wearing a red hoodie, that's important, and he's tripping. Fabulous goes, Fabulous doesn't think much of it. Maybe Kevin's making a joke. He's confused. So he starts walking. He sees 50 Cent and Floyd Mayweather next to a dude in a red hoodie. But they're his friends, so he goes over to say what's up. Now 50 and Floyd ain't smiling. Dude in a red hoodie posted. Fabulous goes, y'all good? He high-fives 50 Cent. 50 Cent daps him back up, but he doesn't let go. He says, what was you saying about me and Mayweather? Fabulous goes, what? He instantly remembers his conversation with Kevin Hart. He looks at the dude in the red hoodie. Ray J looks back at him. Ray J goes, yes, sir. He was talking about you, Mayweather, the whole crew. But something happens that Ray J does not expect. 50 Cent goes, by the way, I'm not upset at you. I'm just a little confused. Fabulous goes, oh, I'm confused as well. Let's get to the bottom of this 50. Ray J goes, nah, get to the bottom of these hands. He pushes Fabulous. Fabulous goes, oh, watch your hands, buddy. Me and 50 are just trying to figure out what's going on. Ray J goes, nah, y'all talking too much. You talking to me now. He gets more aggressive. A scuffle ensues. But nobody gets hurt. Everybody walks away until Ray J decides to call the Breakfast Club a radio station and says, yo, I just went crazy on Fabulous. Yee, yee, yee. Everyone looks at Fabulous. Fabulous goes, everyone looks back at Ray J. Ray J goes, ask 50. He was there. Everyone looks at 50. 50 goes, everyone looks back at Ray J. Ray J goes, all right, it was my fault. I was drinking. I was tripping.
Go listen to the Ray J rant on the Breakfast Club. It's hilarious.
Guy sitting in Romania, he's going online every day, approaching 80 different men. 40 or 50 of them are responding, corresponds with them as a girl. Every day he's getting 4 or 5 over the course of a week or so. So he's got 20, 25, and then out of those, maybe 5 or 10 start sending him little bits of money. What happens is eventually the scam is, I really want to come to the US. I've saved this much money towards it's going to cost $1,500. I've saved $750, but it's going to take me another year. And of course, the American guy's like, I'll give you the other $750. Yeah. Oh, I know. Oh, that's so sweet, so nice. But I have nowhere to stay. Like I could stay in a hotel, or I could stay on, if you don't mind, I could sleep on your couch, or no, you can stay with me. Okay, so he sends $750. Then I got the ticket, I'm on my way. Yeah. Is going through customs, but she never shows up. Calls on the phone, I'm in customs. They will not allow me into the United States because I don't have the minimum amount of money. They're afraid I'm coming here to stay to work, when I told them I was just coming on a vacation for 2 weeks. And I need $1,500. Can you wire me through Western Union $1,500, and I'll give it right back to you as soon as I get through customs. So he gives her another $1,500, and then of course she never shows up.
As soon as it hits TikTok, you already know it's outdated. I heard this 20 years ago.
Welcome to Cognify, a facility designed to treat criminals like patients. Instead of spending years in an actual prison cell, prisoners could finish their sentence here in just a few minutes. Cognify could someday create and implant artificial memories directly into the prisoner's brain.
Literally a whole episode of Black Mirror. And isn't the point of prison to waste a person's lifespan as punishment?
All right, I was hired by a wife to follow her husband. She found a random number in his phone, and he's been acting weird lately. So he ended up going to a coffee shop I went to, waited for him to come out. And I thought this man was an angel, but if you stay tuned, he meets up with a girl later. He shows up to a car wash. I go inside, get a little snack, just make sure he's not talking to any girls in here. And then I said, absolutely, I'm gonna sit in this massage chair and watch him. He ended up sitting next to me, next to a girl, but that is not the girl But then he ended up departing and he went to a laundromat. And when I say this is my first time seeing someone cheat in a laundromat, it is my first time seeing someone cheat in the laundromat. Thank you to whoever's tied this was, because I needed to hide behind it a little bit. They ended up taking off together, hand in hand, kissing, and they went to In-N-Out. They ate inside, and then they departed to a residence, which is probably her residence. So, you know, this is my time. Of course, I got myself a little protein burger and chilled outside of the house waiting for them. Did I eat the paper? I ended up calling the wife, letting her know, and she said that's all she needed to know, and surveillance was discontinued.
Why can't people just leave the relationship? Like, bro, this is so sad.
Okay, you might know me as a pretty wholesome guy, but rather than do what I normally do, I'm just gonna say all the quiet parts out loud and see who this video finds. AGI is almost here, and if you don't know what that means, it's just a computer that can build computers with its hands. And if you're struggling to understand why that's impactful, then think about it like this. Did they pay the slaves? So we're about to have a permanent underclass of robots that's going to be doing virtually everything on Earth. Yes, they're not that good right now, but this is the worst that they will ever be. So concepts like money and scarcity and even work are going to drastically change in meaning over the next 18 months. Absolutely everybody is broke as hell. The government is completely lying about the economy and virtually everything else. We have freaking orbs in the sky, aliens or some I don't know, but they're out there, and the United States government has said that they're real, that they see them every single day, and that they see them mostly over Air Force bases and by nuclear bases. Even the secret ones that nobody knows about. China is building a humanoid robot factory that's supposed to open next year, and Silicon Valley tech engineers are creating something very similar to Joy from Blade Runner, like a hologram that you can touch. And you think all this stuff is going to be pretty far off, but in reality, it's really not. It's here, it's coming, it's right around the freaking corner. And every time I try to tell people about these things or talk about them or, you know, show the research that I've done that that has given me this information and these opinions, people say that I'm crazy. They say that I'm crazy for reading. Originally, I was writing a sci-fi book with all these concepts in it, and then as I did research, I started to discover that the things that I was writing about that I thought weren't going to happen for another 1,000 years were happening right freaking now. And I feel like all these apps just push us into more sense pleasure, more looking at boobies and loud music and loud noises. Whereas over in other countries, specifically like China, it's mostly educational content. The number one job American kids want is influencer. The number one job Chinese kids want?
Engineer.
Astronaut. And right now I feel completely alone because my algorithm shows me this stuff, but I don't have anyone to talk to about it. And not only do I not have anyone to talk to about it, I don't have anyone to freaking help me. I've been trying to do literally anything I can think of to try and help myself get through this transition, and nothing is working, man. I'm completely overwhelmed. And it seems like every day some news comes out where it's like, well, okay, cool. I guess that exists now. Great. I was very popular. I was doing music. I was doing shows. I had a lot of friends. And then I started learning more about this stuff. I'm a journalist. I literally have a degree in journalism. I couldn't stop. This stuff is so important and so interesting. But it's also driving me freaking crazy because I feel like everyone I talk to thinks that I'm absolutely bonkers just because I'm aware of stuff. Are you experiencing that? Are you experiencing that too?
Astronauts, good luck with that. But advice that I truly believe will help your life experience: the world, your mind and body are your three homes, especially if you put Christ in it.
On a little bit of a rabbit hole about Charles II, King of Spain, the product of 200 years of inbreeding.
Wasn't he sterile because of the inbreeding?
He was sterile, completely illiterate, and could barely chew or speak. He was set up with a wife, and she was terrified of him.
Yeah.
He also miraculously survived chickenpox, measles, rubella, and smallpox. So he was kind of like a cockroach. I saw a TikTok about his autopsy results, and this is what happened. He had the heart the size of a peppercorn.
Tiny baby heart?
Huh? His intestines were putrefied and gangrenous.
Gangrenous?
One single testicle as black as coal.
Oh.
His head was full of water.
This is why there are HIPAA laws. No one should know this about a person. What a scientific wonder.
Bummer.
That's what I'm saying. Wondrous.
Yeah.
I feel like they probably did the autopsy after a few days where stuff was kind of, decomposing already.
Back in the 1930s, the milk float wasn't the only electric vehicle to be found on the streets. It was just one of a number, delivering all sorts of provisions like bread and tea to the doorstep.
In Britain, they're everywhere, doing their work regularly, efficiently, and unassumingly. Whether the streets are clear or crowded, it's completely at home in them.
The electric vehicle, then as now, relies on simple battery technology which dates back to the turn of the century. It is made up of a chassis, a ton in weight of batteries, a motor and an electrical controller. The motor draws power from the batteries and drives the rear wheels via a prop shaft. The weight of the batteries meant that the electric vehicle needed to be heavily built.
Because it had to carry a ton of batteries, you couldn't build an electric vehicle with a flimsy chassis. It had to be built like a tank, because with no milk on it, it still was a very heavy vehicle. So if you didn't build it with a very solid suspension and chassis frame, you were in trouble before you started.
The big EV lie. First electric vehicle was 200 years ago, by the way. What's the next con for the rich to rip us off?
This might be the craziest thing I've ever seen. That's a big call. It's a big call, but this absolutely blew my mind when I found out about it. So the Bible, the early books are written in Hebrew, right? The genealogy in the first few books of the Bible, for those that know, is like Adam first, then his son was Seth, then Enosh, then Kenan. I'll probably pronounce those wrong, but in the original Hebrew, when you take the meanings of their names, get this. Oh, I've heard something about this. So Adam means man. That's like the original translation. Seth is appointed. And then the first 10, I'll read out each of their names, their meaning. It actually spells this. Man is appointed mortal sorrow, but the blessed God shall come down teaching. His death shall bring the despairing comfort and rest. What? Wow. I don't know how long ago, but it was long before Jesus came. Wow. When I found out about that, imagine that, God prophesying Jesus from the first people who ever walked the earth in their names.
Everything is pointed to Jesus Christ.
Ever seen water caltrops? They look like little bats, and they taste almost like a chestnut with the texture of a potato. These are probably the coolest nuts I've ever seen.
New nuts dropped? Never thought I'd say that. New evil nuts just dropped. Where'd you get these? Hellish. These are hellish nuts. This is what you would find in Satan's trail mix. I would never eat these. Apparently, if you eat too many of these in one sitting, you turn into half goat. Your legs grow fur and hooves, and you start speaking in Latin. Where did you even get these? Where are these? I have never, ever even just like seen someone just like, hey, you've never seen this nut before. I thought we saw all of them. I remember the movie The Rundown, where I was like, oh, Brazil nuts. Those are just like nuts in Brazil. Now I see them all the time. That was the closest I've ever gotten to seeing a new nut. It's the most time I've said nut in any video. But I'm not going for these. I'm not going for the Satan nuts. Absolutely not. How do they even get that ugly and evil looking? Y'all eating evil nuts? These nuts need to be exercised so you can get to the middle of them. Boy, ain't no way, boy.
I'm at a point right now in my life where there's a lot I know that I want to tell people. There's a lot of things I want to teach, but I'm afraid. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm scared because I got 4 grandchildren, and I got children that are in this world. I got people I care about, and I got people that I care about that don't necessarily believe what I believe, and I'm not. I have no fear, and I think that those that would oppose my beliefs, they've probably done enough. If somebody's after me or if somebody's watching me, then they know enough about me to know that I have no fear. So, you know me, it just confirms that what I said was true. I do have a fear of them hurting my family. So I'm quiet about certain things. I don't talk about everything I know because I don't want nobody in my family to be hurt.
I'm beginning to understand all these rappers didn't die the way we were led to believe. Like Coolio and DMX.
Have you seen this viral video of what looks to be some sort of angelic or demonic being captured during a lightning strike? Well, I didn't think it was real at first, but my friend Ashley captured something in a storm last night in South Carolina.
7.
Welcome to the news. I'm your host, Kellerman, and here's something going on in the world today. In Saudi Arabia, they reported over 900 people died during this year's Hajj pilgrimage as temperatures reached 125 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 51.8 degrees Celsius for all you complainers in my comment section. In India, a freight train crashed into a passenger train, killing at least 15 people and injuring around 41 others. Off the coast of Italy, 2 separate shipwrecks have claimed the lives of at least 11 people. 62 have been rescued and 64 are still missing. Most reports identify these people as migrants. And over in Africa, a fire broke out at a military ammunitions depot in Chad, causing a massive explosion that killed at least 9 people and injured more than 46 others. Sorry, I couldn't find a video that I was capable of duetting in here, so you're just gonna have to wait till this weekend's newsletter to see footage.
Prayers for every lost soul. Thank you for the reports.
This guy is more evil than the Tinder swindler. This docu-series just came out yesterday, and I am astonished that people are not talking about it yet. This is about the Hollywood con queen who would impersonate dozens of Hollywood executives. He would create these elaborate schemes to scam entertainment workers. They would think that they got these impressive Hollywood gigs where they would then need to fly to Jakarta to complete them. Once in Jakarta, he would spy on them and steal a ton of money from them. And on top of that, he was impersonating dozens of people's voices. And he was making some of them perform horrific sexual things on camera. They do catch this guy in this documentary and interview him, and he is a walking meme. The things that come out of his mouth are appalling, and it is surprising that a person like this was able to create such a believable scam. I'd also like to add that the woman that investigates this case is a badass. Let me know what you guys think about this one, and hit follow for more recommendations.
I listened to this podcast and it's fascinating. So glad they made this into a documentary.
The average person who goes to school has no idea why humanity exists. He has no idea concerning a spiritual factor in material existence. He has no general comprehension of the rules of life as these differ from the rules of social and political structures. He does not know where he came from. He does not know why he is here, and he has no idea where he's going. And on this compound ignorance, we offer degrees and make brilliant scholars out of people who have never answered any of those questions. It is one of these amazing things that we have created a great hierarchy of well-lettered ignorance. We have made everything subservient not to wisdom, but to the passing advantages of the hour. We're in exactly this position politically today.
It's by design to be that way. Fear is like the team, keeping us ignorant and misinformed for easy manipulation.
Take a look at this intriguing site captured by an American satellite right in the heart of the Chinese Gobi Desert. Imagine this. Thousands of mirrors scattered across the desert forming a mirror matrix. It's reminiscent of scenes from a sci-fi movie like Battle Control Online with Power Sabotage.
Battle Control Online.
Truly mind-boggling. This $300 million project is set up in the Gobi Desert, and guess what stands in the middle of it all? It resembles a tower, but what's its purpose? Well, it's a bit like a hydroelectric dam, but with a twist. It's a lava tower solar thermal power plant. Yes, you heard it right. This tall tower features a heat absorber on top, and beneath it there are 14,500 mirrors, aptly named sun tracking mirrors. The lava tower solar thermal power system performs a magic trick, converting sunlight into heat, and then that heat turns into electricity. The best part? It's clean as a whistle, with zero pollution even on cloudy days or when the sun plays hide and seek at night. Operating 24/7 in the Gobi Desert, where sunshine exceeds 3,500 hours a year, this solar thermal power plant generates a whopping 3.90 million kilowatt hours of electricity annually. That's equivalent to saving about 60,000 tons of coal cutting 60 tons of sulfur dioxide, 20 tons of dust, and a staggering 150,000 tons of carbon dioxide emissions every single year. The Lava Tower Solar Thermal Power Plant is like the superhero of clean energy. Zero pollution, zero emissions. Can you think of any downsides to this power play?
So how to channel those 3.5 million megawatt power to the near mega city area? USA abandoned the project because of the very same problems. Maybe because the USA is being controlled by the petrol companies.
Man has such a unique appearance because he was a castrato. He was the last known castrato, and we even have recordings of his voice. I'll play you a snippet. For those who are unaware, a castrato is a singer who was castrated before puberty to keep his voice from changing. This procedure was done between the ages of 6 and 10 and had severe health consequences. The hormonal imbalance gave them a feminine appearance. This condition, known as hypoandrogenism, resulted in the development of breasts and the accumulation of fat in the thighs, hips, and neck. They often grew taller than average, with long legs but a very fragile skeleton. They typically suffered from depression and chronic fatigue. At such a young age, between 6 and 10, you can imagine they weren't the ones making the decision to undergo this procedure. It was usually their parents. Eventually, the practice became heavily frowned upon, so doctors and families sometimes claimed that the castration was due to a fall from a horse, or the bite of a swan, or a boar. The last castrato died in 1922. Here is his voice.
Little did they know that the practice has resumed.
Say, when someone starts raising their voice in an argument. As soon as they start raising their voice, here's what you're going to do. Number one, ask them this question. Is this a conversation? Is this a conversation? Now, 99.9% of the time, the answer you're going to get is yes. They always say yes. But here's the cool part. They're not going to yell it. They will say yes. Because by you reminding them it's a conversation, they will automatically lower their voice. Number two, use the phrase, I don't respond to that volume. I don't respond to that volume.
I like that.
Here you're asserting a boundary that says there is a right way to talk to me and a wrong way to talk to me. And I'm letting you know which category you're in. And number three, don't match their volume because it only justifies them getting louder. Instead, when you keep your voice low and slow, the more calm and control you'll be. So try that and follow me.
Unless you're talking to a narcissist. In my experience, the calmer I stayed and the less reaction I have, the angrier he got.
Bro, how is it legal that anyone can literally just open up an LLC today, go to the bank tomorrow, get $50,000 on a credit card under that business, liquidate the entire card, and now you have $50,000 of cash that you can do anything you want with. And it's 0% interest for the first year. So I have a year to pay off. You have a year to pay off that entire $50,000. How is that legal? I don't know.
Let me know if you believe this in the comment. It sounds like too good to be true.
Simple story, but one that resonated with many Chinese netizens and had been picked up by many Chinese media outlets too. A man wearing pajamas walked into a Mercedes-Benz dealership in Anhui, China, and he already knew that he wanted to make a purchase and he just needed help comparing options. But the salespeople there wouldn't even give him the time of day. So he went to an Audi dealership right next door where he met a salesperson with a different attitude. He wasn't even originally planning on buying Audi or considering it, but he was treated warmly by the staff and shown around, so he ended up buying a car right on the spot. A lot of netizens spoke up about this, and they also said they had negative experiences with Mercedes-Benz. Other people had some funny comments too, or comments about sales. One said, if I were a salesperson, honestly, even if someone just wanted to borrow the restroom, I'd enthusiastically help them take off their pants.
It's funny because I went to Toyota to get an oil change on my 2017 Camry. In my PJs, I was looking at the Lexus LC500, which is a sport car, and dude said, most guys who buy this car walk in dressed like you.
If you're really a millionaire, how much does your fit cost? Shirt, $20, jeans, $20, shoes, $25, house, $3 million plus, and don't even get me started on my investments.
Look, some are cheap, some are frivolous, some splurge, some don't, some go on lavish vacations, some stay home, put their money in a cereal box until they die. All millionaires are different. This particular gentleman has a beautiful home, it sounds like. He has great investments. He just doesn't have any style and he doesn't like clothes or cars based on the one he's sitting on. But $20 for a shirt, $20 for pants, $25 for shoes. I'd like to know where the hell he's shopping. Goodwill? Go get yourself some better clothes, Mr. Tilbury.
Or maybe he's too smart not to spend money on stuff with no value.
Solomon and the Ocean Gate submersible. Was it an occult ritual, and are they getting ready to do it again? Ocean Gate co-founder Guillermo Sonlane is planning a trip to Dean's Blue Hole, one of the world's deepest ocean sinkholes. It is 202.997 meters, or 666 feet deep. Sonlane revealed his plan around the anniversary of the Titan submersible implosion, which killed 5 on board. It is an interesting name for the submersible that met a fitting demise because the Titans were imprisoned in a cavity beneath Tartarus. Also, why did the Titan look like Solomon's shamir? A warmer substance with the power to cut through or disintegrate stone, iron, or diamond. Solomon was said to have used it in the building of the first temple. In one story, the demon king Asmodeus told Solomon that the shamir was given by God to the angel of the sea, who then lost it and later committed suicide. This is how Solomon was able to obtain it. The shamir was meant to have always been wrapped in wool and stored in a container made of lead. Any other vessel would burst and disintegrate under the shamir's gaze. On board the Titan was Shahzada Dawood and his son Suleiman. Shahzada means prince or king's son. Suleiman translates to Solomon, and Dawood is the equivalent to the biblical David, the father of King Solomon.
Solomon did a lot of bad stuff, but was chosen by God to do good. He did good, but eventually got lost in lust, and God left him.
Tricked his bank one day in a genius way. Basically, T-Bank in Russia had sent him a credit card application form. But when this guy, Dmitry Agrikov, read it, he suddenly noticed that it said their interest rate was an insane 45% when it was listed on their website at only 13%. Now, although this was clearly a mistake, it gave Dmitry an idea. He decided to make a few small changes to the fine print in T-Bank's contract before signing it and sending it back. These changes said that Dmitry would never have to pay any fees, and if T-Bank ever tried to cancel this agreement, they would have to pay Dmitry $182,000. Now, Dmitry did this pretty much just as a joke. Banks were always telling people to read the fine print, but did they actually read the fine print? Dmitry figured they probably did and never expected T-Bank to sign it, but somehow they did. So Dmitry began happily using his new card, racking up tons of fees since he knew he wouldn't have to pay them anyways. But after 2 years of this, T-Bank suddenly canceled his card and then sued him for missing these fee payments. When Dmitry argued that their contract said no fees, T-Bank replied that they hadn't read that part. A court eventually sided with Dmitry, saying that T-Bank should have read the contract. Dmitry then countersued T-Bank for $700,000 for canceling the agreement, but after a 3-year battle, he eventually settled for a debit card with 30% cash back on some purchases.
30% cash back is insane. That's basically 30% off on anything.
Have you heard about what's going on with JonBenet Ramsey? So why this isn't all over the place, I have no clue. But John Ramsey decided to do an interview with Fox on Friday. Basically, John Ramsey told Fox that over the past 28 years, he has been trying to do an independent autopsy on his daughter. And the Boulder PD ain't having it. I mean, he even went on to say that he heard reliably that one of the members of the police department, I don't know who, told a journalist, we're just waiting for John Ramsey to pass away. AKA, they want this to go away. Now, John said, I'm not going anywhere. I don't plan on going anywhere soon. And if I do, my son will take over for me. Now, if you don't remember, the autopsy back in '96 on JonBenet was a little fishy. It revealed that she had passed away from strangulation and a blow to the head. But last time I checked, you can't pass away from two things. It's got to be one or the other.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that she had an 8.5-inch fracture on her skull. I mean, she was a small child. That's a massive fracture. Now, not only is Ramsey trying to get the autopsy, he's trying to get other pieces of evidence tested, and they're not letting him. Now, here's where it gets interesting. In 1997, the Boulder County District Attorney asked famed Colorado detective Lou Smith, who had boasted more than 200 solved homicide cases, to assist with the JonBenet case. Now, Smith passed away in 2010, but he had created a case file for JonBenet and a list of hundreds of names of potential suspects prior to her passing. Now, get this, on Smith's deathbed, John Ramsey was there and he told him, do not forget this name. There was one person he was very interested in. Now, I'm sure nobody knew this, but 2 years ago, John Ramsey actually got a petition with 30,000 signatures sent to the governor's office in Colorado so he could do this independent autopsy. And basically, it has gotten him nowhere. I mean, I'm shocked. I thought that, possibly the family was in on this the whole time. I had no clue that this man was fighting for her for the past 28 years. Or the fact that the Boulder PD isn't letting them do the autopsy or test any of the other evidence. Something sounds fishy here, guys, and I feel like John Ramsey is trying to let it out.
Seriously, why was Epstein's girlfriend at the house? There are pictures of her there.
If you ever smell something foul and you don't know where it's coming from, you might want to call the police. In 2009 at Cleveland, Ohio, the co-owner of Ray's Sausage named Renee Cash was managing her family meatpacking business until she received several neighborhood complaints that her establishment reeked of a very foul smell. The smell was so bad that even city inspectors came over to investigate the smell, and after a lot of complaints, Renee was forced to make changes to her family business. So she spent roughly $30,000 to set new sewer traps, new ventilation systems, and even cleaned the whole establishment with bleach. But after all that cleaning and maintenance, the smell still didn't go away. Now Renee is feeling hopeless and was worried that her family business was going to plummet down. But fast forward to October 2009, the police finally found the source of the smell, and do you want to know where it came from? Well, before we do, this is Anthony. Anthony is a neighbor, and his 3-story home is right next to Ray's Sausage. But do you know why this information is important? Many have blamed Renee for the foul smell at Ray's Sausage, but the smell wasn't coming from her business. No, it was not. It turns out that the odor was actually coming from the dead bodies rotting inside Anthony's home. And if you're wondering who Anthony really is, he's known as the Cleveland Strangler who essayed and murdered 11 women.
Ooh.
Americans always say to me, if USA is so bad, then why is everybody trying to get into the US? What Americans do not understand is that the only people trying to get into the US are impoverished and displaced people. You will not see a middle-class Chinese or a middle-class Mexican or a middle-class Brazilian trying to get into the US. There's no need. The US only has 4% of the world's population. That means that 96% of people on Earth do not live in the US, do not want to live in the US, and have no need to live in the US. More Mexicans are coming back to Mexico than going to the US, according to the Pew Research Center. I mean, just look at all the Americans that are actively trying to leave the US. Like they say, the American dream is to leave the US. A lot of countries like Venezuela and Cuba are indirectly poor because of the US, all the sanctions and all the embargoes. And then people from the US complain that all the Venezuelans and Cubans are coming into the US. But to be fair, the US does give out a lot of handouts. And to be fair, I personally think that the US cares more about other people from other countries than its own citizens. But that's a conversation for another day. But yes, dear Americans, not everybody is trying to get into the US. Most of the world is okay without the US. There's an entire existence outside the US, guys. But there you have it, guys. The only people really trying to get into the US are poor and displaced people. Let me know what you guys think.
I want to go to the US, but not to live. I love my country too much.
Man, just rode past my preacher. He called me and told me I can't go back to his church. What happened was I was driving and I seen him on the side of the road, and I think he ran out of gas or something. So I pulled over and asked him if he need help. He said yeah, so I grabbed his hand and I prayed with him. And then I got back in my car and said, help should be on the way. And he got mad. Nigga, you did that when I told you I was laying on my bills. Nigga, you prayed for me and said, hopefully help be on the way. I thought I was returning the favor. I thought prayer was the most powerful thing I can give. I ain't want to give him no money. I gave him some money on Sunday.
Newspaper in my hand. It's from 1930. This is from March 11th, 1930. But that is President Taft in his casket being pulled by a horse-drawn, carriage hearse. I was so excited that I missed so many details this morning. This is from California's worst ever earthquake in 1989. But what you gotta understand, these are the full papers. This wasn't somebody that just saved the cover sheets. 1981, 52 hostages freed. Land safely in Germany. There's another one from that. I'm not even sure what this is. There's 2 of Nixon. It's over and Nixon resigns. Ford to step up. Here is the spacewalk, but U.S. OK's combat role for GIs in Vietnam. So the New York Times from when Mickey Mantle died in 1995. Look at how cool this is. Man, out of nowhere, shot Oswald to death. Again, this is for Kennedy at his funeral.
Those are very valuable. You scored.
Ever made a vow to the Lord? Vows are serious promises, and the story of Jephthah shows us why we must be careful with them. Jephthah was a warrior chosen to lead the Israelites against the Ammonites. Before the battle, he made a hasty vow to God. If you give me victory, whatever comes out of my house to meet me when I return will be the Lord's, and I will sacrifice it as a burnt offering. God gave Jephthah victory, and he returned home triumphant. But to his horror, the first to greet him was his daughter, his only child, dancing with joy. Devastated, Jephthah realized the grave mistake of his rash vow. His daughter understood the seriousness of the vow her father had made. She told him, "My father, you have given your word to the Lord. Do to me just as you promised, now that the Lord has avenged you of your enemies, the Ammonites." She only asked for 2 months to wander the hills and weep with her friends because she would never marry. Jephthah granted her wish, and for 2 months, his daughter and her friends roamed the hills, mourning her fate. When the time was up, she returned to her father, and he fulfilled his vow. The Bible does not specify how Jephthah sacrificed his daughter, but it was a tragic end brought about by a hasty vow. The story of Jephthah's vow teaches us an important lesson about the promises we make, especially to God. We must think carefully and consider the consequences before making any vows. A rash vow can lead to unintended and tragic outcomes. So if you have made a vow to God, I want you to take a moment, reflect on that vow, and try your best to fulfill it. An unfulfilled vow can hinder you from receiving many blessings. Always remember, a promise to God is not to be taken lightly.
Our word is our bond, no matter how small or great. Wait before you say it.
Guys, I would never lie to y'all. I ain't never seen this fruit in my entire life. The fact that there are still fruit that I have never seen before is crazy. It looked like it got strawberries on the inside. Okay, so
That look good.
this apparently is a Vietnamese fruit, which fully explains why I've never seen it. And I think it's pronounced the gok fruit. GAC. I'm not trying to be funny. I just feel like GAC is gok. Okay? In America, gok means a couple things. But I don't have any other guesses.
I'll
as
try
to how
them.
it's pronounced. Could I have done the research? Absolutely. But I chose to press record and say the gok fruit. So this is the gok fruit. And I'm thinking that you open it up and it just tastes like the top of IHOP pancakes. You know what I mean? It comes out all syrupy with like strawberry looking stuff. It looks like you could just cut that open and put it on top of IHOP pancakes. Nope. Apparently the taste is like avocado, which is crazy for fruit, right? That reminds me of like how chocolate is made. You know, some people be opening up the, what is it, the cacao, whatever it is. Pronunciation is not my thing. Go to a different channel. But they be opening that up thinking they just going to taste pure chocolate. And they're just like, ugh, what is this? Yep, they took that, processed it with sugar, all this stuff to make chocolate. So that's what I'm thinking is going on with this fruit, you know. Because they do process it with, you know, and they mix it with sugar and a bunch of other stuff to make a different, sweeter taste. But this raw, unfiltered gok, apparently it ain't all that raw. But if you have any experience with this fruit, if you have eaten it, please give all the info in the comments, because this is a shocker. It takes a lot for a new fruit or vegetable to shock me, but this is pretty crazy, and I've never laid eyes on it ever. So let me know y'all thoughts. Let me know if you've ever gotten the gok.
I want to try the gok.
Guess I'll just end the video on that.
Ever heard of BlackRock? No, it's not a rock band. It's actually the world's largest asset manager, controlling over $9 trillion in assets. But here's where it gets interesting. Some say BlackRock is more than just a powerhouse in the financial industry. They argue it's at the heart of global control, influencing governments and policies worldwide. Let's unpack this, shall we? First off, BlackRock isn't just investing money. They own shares in almost every major company you can think of. From Apple to Microsoft, their influence spans across various sectors. Now, this kind of power doesn't just mean they're big on Wall Street. No, it means they potentially have a say in how these companies operate and, by extension, how we live our lives. It gets deeper. BlackRock has developed software that is used by other major investors. This software, called Aladdin,
BlackRock and Vanguard are big players in the World Economic Forum.
Seen Cliff High's worrying prediction for mid-July? If you don't know, Cliff High studies emotional language released throughout the world and finds that this can be used to predict events before they happen. Recently, he's been cautioning of an extreme tension release for mid-July. We wanted to see what exactly that would be and what we should look out for. So we decided to remote view it, and what we got back was unexpected. Here's a clip from our full session.
So the motion itself is aerial, arcing, above ground movement, which is fast, linear, cubular. It feels like a missile. It's moving fast at hypersonic speed and it's remote piloted. The structure itself feels grey. It feels like it's destroyed and deaths are involved in it. It's an important structure, which then gave me this kind of visual, which probably goes with that, missile hitting a structure kind of thing. So huge big black cloud in the sky. And I didn't quite get it in this one, so I tried to do it again here, but essentially a silhouette of a city here with this really long, big, massive trading black cloud in the sky.
If you want to know fully what to expect for mid-July, then try out our memberships in our bio.
Remote viewing is demonic, and it doesn't tell the future. It reads the energy as it's presented and could change at any moment.
If you find a piece of jewelry, you find a bracelet, you find a ring, do not wear it. You don't know what kind of energies they're holding on to. There's a reason why I keep telling you guys, stop purchasing items from the thrift stores. If you are finding items in the ground, you don't know that person. You don't know what evil things are lingering around, and the next thing you know, they're on you. That's why I tell you guys, please pawn it, sell it. I don't know, it's none of your concern.
I would cleanse it by rebuking it in the name of Jesus Christ and sealing it with the blood of Christ. It would be as good as new.
3 is officially starting today. I'm just going to live on the flipping moon. So this Donny right here is Mr. Nostradamus, who you probably have heard about. He's correctly predicted a lot of things throughout history, the Titanic, 9/11, the list goes on. Now, of course, you've probably heard of some of his predictions for 2024, including World War III, of course. But also this sort right here, Baba Vanga. I mean, these two literally just should have been dating, right? She's also a famous mystic who died back in the 90s. She literally predicted how she would die. There's another guy now, but this guy's actually got some backing as well, which is quite crazy. Kushal Kamal is the guy that is now being dubbed as the Indian Nostradamus. He's an Indian physicist and astrologer, so yeah, he's got his qualifications right. Now, he has said on Tuesday, the 18th of June, 2024, the atmosphere has the strongest planetary stimulus to trigger World War III. How the hell does a planet trigger World War III, mate? Explain. That although if it doesn't, the 10th and 29th of June may as well. The 10th has already passed. No World War III. I guess there's just 2 more days to hold out, so yeah, let's see. And I mean, I know there's a lot going on in the world right now, you're probably all very aware of it, but a lot would have to happen in the next sort of 5 hours for World War III to break out today. Or I guess we'll have to wait till the 29th when he says it's going to start, so yeah, as always, make sure you share with a friend, hit that follow button, and I will keep you updated.
Until The Simpsons says something, we find.
But what
Just kidding, folks.
they've done that we have found is they have left clues going back to the Apollo era in the Apollo data, like in the film. Remember I talked about the DAC camera films?
Yeah.
They hid messages for us in the splicings between the films, coded messages in the films for those who would come after, like me and others, that would be able to look at it and say, oh, that's what they meant.
Mhm.
What did Aldrin do when he came back from the moon? What did he do professionally? He wrote a novel about an alien civilization discovered on the moon.
No.
Yes.
Buzz Aldrin? Wow.
Yes, it's called Encounter at Tiber.
I didn't know this. My bad.
Either suspected through his mind conditioning, his mind control. And I go into have their minds kind of messed with.
Manipulated, yeah.
Manipulated, yeah. Or between those segments when it wears off. Like Charlie Duke Charlie Duke, who was the astronaut with John Young, who jaunted around on the lunar surface in Apollo 16 in the rover. Remember what Charlie Duke said about the dreams he had on the moon? How he was dreaming. He was lying there in the lunar module over that first night before they went out on their second EVA, and he has this dream that they're riding in the rover and they come across tracks, and they follow in his dream the tracks, and they find another rover with two astronauts, obviously long dead, sitting there in their spacesuits with their helmets, their gold helmets down so they can't see the features. And in his dream, he gets off his rover and he walks over across the moon dust a few feet to the other rover, and he lifts up the outer gold covering, and he's looking at himself.
Wow.
And that's in print. Now, was that a fake story so he gets the word out? Remember Elman Dickinson, tell all the truth, but tell it slant. One of my colleagues in the space covering business, he worked for NBC, I worked obviously for Cronkite and CBS, was Jay Barbary. Anyway, Jay Barbary, a year or two after the Apollo 11 mission, he held a little party for Aldrin, and he was doing for NBC a kind of a documentary about Apollo and 2 years now and all that kind of thing. So he has Apollo astronaut Buzz Aldrin on stage. They're sitting in two very easy chairs, big armchairs. They've got a whole bunch of audience out in front of them, Kiwanis Club members, members of the public, whatever. And they're on an Air Force base, Edwards Air Force Base, which is a supreme NASA test facility, used to be Air Force and went to NASA. So they're just having a kind of two buds talking about the space program, right? So Barbary asked him, well, Buzz, what did it feel like to land for the first time on the moon?
Yeah.
And Aldrin sits there. Suddenly, he jumps up, runs off the stage, runs out a side door into an alley next to the Kiwanis Hall, and throws up his lunch all over the alley.
Protection program kicks in.
Now, that is aversion therapy.
Yes, exactly.
So he could not even go close to what it felt like, because it was Ed Mitchell who told me and told many other people, and actually wrote it in his book, The Way of the Explorer. He said what bothered him for years was he could remember all the mission details, what they did here, what they did there, the stations, the geology experiments, picking up rocks and all that. But he couldn't connect what it felt like. And he got so disturbed by this that he went to a therapist who I happen to know. He goes to this therapist to have this person debrief him with a hypnotic past whatever blocks so we can get at what he really felt like to walk on the moon. And the therapist can't get him to go there. He actually demurs, that's not important, and he does everything possible, but he cannot break through the block. So whatever technology was used, I think, is a cut above normal hypnosis. I know two apps that show all the evidence of post-hypnotic conditioning where they can't even go next to the idea, what did it feel like?
But what about these reports that they saw stuff on the way to the moon? And this was censored.
They did see stuff. They saw the SLA panels, and Aldrin talks about that. Did they actually see alien ET spacecraft pacing them? Probably not.
Either they didn't go to the moon or they did and encountered an alien base. Which one is it?
Check this out, y'all.
What is you eating?
Some ice cream, the donut.
Where you get that ice cream from?
I'm freezing.
You bought it? You is eating fucking dog food.
What? You funny as hell.
No, I'm so fucking serious.
You still eating
I
it.
bought Penis some dog food earlier. That was some doggy treat ice cream.
Bruh, eating
You ain't paying attention to what was on the box?
some Purina pralines and cream.
You ain't paying attention to this. You ain't paying attention to this dog.
Big
on the
ass
box?
terrier on the front.
Is you serious? What the fuck, bro? And you ate two of them motherfuckers. You ate two of them up. You ate two of them motherfuckers.
Frosty paws.
Ice cream, dog food, ice cream.
Because peanut butter is trees.
It's not Frosty Freeze, bro. That's Frosty
Why
paws.
didn't you read the box? Why didn't you read the box? It's a big dog on there.
Big ass terrier.
Frosty paws.
I didn't look back.
Frozen dogs. You ate
This is
two
shit.
The dog food. The dog food.
I think he's got his new rap name, Frosty Paws. Alright folks, I'm going to end our video with this coming clip. Be kind to each other. If you haven't subscribed, please do. There's a free gift below if you like, and if you want to buy me coffee or support me through Patreon, the links are also in the description below. Thank you for watching. Have a prosperous day, and God bless.
Straighten up my life. This heat wave made me realize I can't go to hell.